You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. 47's coming to town. I made a beautiful list and we're checking it twice. All the bad hombres will be deported by ICE. 47's coming to town. Tom Holman's gonna find you and make you go away. If you came here illegally, then you're not allowed to stay. So you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. 47's coming to town. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. 47's coming to town. I made a beautiful list and we're checking it twice. All the bad hombres will be deported by ICE. 47's coming to town. Tom Holman's gonna find you and make you go away. If you came here illegally, then you're not allowed to stay. So you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. 47's coming to town.
Hello. Well, we're already having a little bit of glitch here. So, hi, Michael. Finder found. I've already been booted here once. Hi, Kelly. So, not sure what's going on with that. But give us a chance to get some more folks in here and we'll get started. Seems like every time I start a space, I get booted. Not quite sure why that happens. I end up having to reconnect. So I am reconnected and we're good to go.
Well, I've been busy all day, so I'm here to catch up on what I missed. I just thought I'd pop up on stage while you're getting together here.
Well, welcome to the space. I've actually been in the same boat. I've got a topic that I was interested in talking about. It's a legal case out of the Eastern District of Texas that involves the Corporate Transparency Act. It's Top Cop Shop Inc. versus Garland. And it affects pretty much every small business in America. So,
yeah, it sounds pretty big.
I think it's an interesting case, and we can spend a few minutes on it.
Do you have documents to share or put somewhere?
I posted the case in our feed earlier today, but I mean it's pretty lengthy, so there's nothing that nobody wants to read a.
You never know. Come on now. We've got a diverse group. I will post it in the purple pill and probably put it up there since you're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a pretty lengthy case. It's basically, let's see, how many pages is it? It's only 79 pages. It's not too bad.
Do you remember which location you put it in? Because it was on Teams, because I'm already looking for it. I'm trying to find it.
No, it's in the XFeed. I mean, I can put it on Teams if you want.
Oh, no, if you've got the link to it, if you can put it in the purple pill, that'd be great. If it's on X.
I'm kind of afraid to do anything because every time I hit something, I end up getting booted from the space.
Is it on your wall?
It's on our wall, American Mission wall.
Oh, okay, that wall. Okay, I'll dig it up. I'm off.
Speak about the wall from which I am talking.
Okay, gotcha.
Kelly, are we broadcasting everywhere tonight?
Yes, except for Facebook. And that's very rare. So we got X Live, we got Rumble, we got Pilled, we got Kick, and we've got YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah. I'm getting braver and braver to
you're living dangerously.
I know, right? That's just my account.
In the age of Trump.
Yeah, let's just not have any medical advice tonight.
Well, last night we talked about some that we had the a few off the rail things and the no words. So it's still out there though.
You ended up getting banned, I think, for a couple of weeks, didn't you? Oh
yeah, got a strike, and they actually wouldn't let me comment or anything. And it was from a Courage is a habit space. Well, dang it, Chris, I can't find it. What's it called again? I'm sorry.
It's called Top Cop Shop Inc. v. Garland.
Okay. All right. I will be back.
So.
And maybe for later, I put a few things in our back channel, but I didn't know if we wanted to bring up how it's getting stranger and stranger. That guy that unalive, that CEO. The whole, just weird. I had a thing in Benny Johnson. I was listening to him.
There's an extradition case that's going to be made sometime in the next couple of days to extradite him from Pennsylvania to New York.
Does anybody else think that like it's just all too convenient?
That's what I'm saying. It's just weird. You should listen to the Benny Johnson thing. And the guy yelled out something today, but I didn't catch it. According to Benny Johnson, it was something dark. So I don't know.
Oh, I mean, he yelled out something to the effect that, it was bad that this was happening in America. Yeah.
And apparently some of his manifesto has been leaked out. There's been a bad one, like a false one, and one that people are saying they think is true. They don't know why the media hasn't reported on. I did see Fox made a comment about it. But he said things like, very clearly, he wanted to state that he acted alone. He did it all on his own, and it just had to be done. And that was that. So a little crazy. But yeah, I saw the clip of him yelling. He had to be restrained by like 5 or 6 officers. So that was interesting.
Oh, wait, I missed that. I was in the air. What happened?
There was a clip, just a short clip of them like taking him into a courthouse, and the media was all out there, and he was like screaming at the top of his lungs and like moving around where to the point where like jumping around where the cops had to like totally restrain him and try to push him in the door. It wasn't like very long. I could probably find the clip. I don't know.
Hey, Chris, I did find an article actually looking for this, and I put it in the purple pill. But it's developments in the Texas cop shop case impact corporate transparency act, and it's up by jdsupra.com. I'm probably saying that wrong.
Is it shorter than 79 pages?
Oh, it's not the actual case. It's a summary and just giving the latest updates on it. I haven't found the actual case yet. I'm still working on it. And then there was that gentleman that he was from the Army. There was something going around and he was being a whistleblower. Did you see that? It's kind of long, but
Yeah.
Yes, I did see that. I saw that video. Also, Vigilante Fox put out 10 stories that got suppressed or something like that. So look, I was just reading through some of that. So we should definitely take a look at what's going on there.
Kelly, I found his other link. I'll put it in the chat too.
which like
The one that Chris had initially posted on American Mission.
oh, well, look at you. Is this a competition? It is, isn't it? You win.
No, I was trying to help.
No, that was helpful because then I got distracted. So, but there was I'll put the 3 things in there too in the purple pill. Oh, and the other thing we want to maybe play is Ann Vanderstill. She's doing that documentary, Ground Zero, in North Carolina, fighting globalism to restore the public. It's a preview of it, and I don't remember the date it's supposed to actually come out. But it's really good. That's like 2 minutes.
What's it about? Sorry,
Ann Vanderstill, she's done a documentary, the first in a series on the story and plight of the people in Western North Carolina, and it's named Ground Zero, North Carolina Fighting Globalism to Restore the Public. And the 3 videos I'm talking about is also in our back office DM as well. Yeah.
Okay. And I put the Vigilante Fox 10 shocking stories the media buried today is what I put out. So I was just reading through them.
Do you guys want to hear what Mark Elias thinks about Donald Trump's pick of Harmeet Dillon?
Oh, he's brewing, isn't he?
Here's what he said. Breaking. Donald Trump is, this is from 23 hours ago, so it's old. But Donald Trump has nominated a sycophant loyalist to head the Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division. This will put pressure on groups and election lawyers to fight for voting rights in court. DOJ will be on the side of vote suppressors and election deniers.
Oh, he's gross. I think I put something out about him yesterday or the day before that I basically called him and Norm Eisen out. So
those 2 are the worst.
Okay, so in the Jumbotron, we've got both the full case that Michael found on this top cop shop, and then also is the summary on it from Legal News. So there you go, Chris.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I didn't intend to get really deep into it other than to, discuss the ramifications. 79 pages is mostly just case law quotes and things like that.
Oh, no, that's fine. We're just here for you. And that way, people nerds like us that like to read this stuff sometimes, it's there. We make it available.
Nobody wants to read this.
You did.
No, I actually read like the last 2 pages.
Well, I'd love to hear more about it. If you could give us what your understanding of it is.
So basically, the Corporate Transparency Act was passed in as part of the Defense Authorization Act in 2020, and then they then the Treasury Department created this rule that how it would be implemented. That got passed through the Federal Register, and so beneficial ownership interest became something that small businesses were required to do in a report to a portion of the Treasury called FinCEN, which basically is mainly responsible for collecting data on foreign transactions. That's mostly what they do. So if you got foreign bank accounts, and you have more than $10,000 in a foreign bank account, you report that on your tax return. You file a report with FinCEN every year, and they keep track of it. So they can do that. And what this is, supposedly Congress thinks that the terrorists are laundering money through small businesses, and they want to know who owns small businesses in the United States. So they want everybody who has a small business in the United States to send in a picture of your driver's license and your name and your address and your phone numbers and information about your business, so it can be recorded in the annals of the U.S. Treasury. So law enforcement has that information available. The rub here is that this information is reported every year on business tax returns. Every time businesses report their income on a business tax return, whether it's a partnership return or whether it's a corporation tax return or whether it's a small business corporation tax return, which is a pass-through entity tax return, whether it's whatever kind of, I mean, even if you're a sole proprietor, it's reported because it goes through on Schedule C on your individual return. Or if it's a single member LLC, it's reported as a Schedule C on your individual return. If it's a multi-member LLC, then it's a partnership return that the partners get K1s, and that's reported on individual returns. And there's a partnership return, and all the partners' information is listed on the K1s, which are attached to the partnership return. Now, you're not sending in the driver's licenses of all the partners. You're not sending in the driver's licenses of all the officers that are listed on the K1s. You're not, or the officers that are listed as officers of the corporation or shareholders of the corporation. You're not sending the same thing for shareholders that are receiving income for pass-through entities and S corporations, but they're getting the Social Security numbers. And they're getting the addresses if the people are receiving income, because that there's a matching program that matches the K1 to what's on your individual income tax return. And the matching program has been going on for a decade. So if you're involved in a partnership and you receive a K1, that information is reported to the Internal Revenue Service, and if you file your tax return and you don't report that, you're going to get a nice letter from the Internal Revenue Service that says, you received money from this partnership and you didn't report it. And so we'd like you to correct your tax return, or we will correct it for you and send you a bill. Or we've already corrected it for you, and if you agree, then send us a check. If you disagree, then correct your tax return and send us a check with your figures. So the issue here is that they've created this additional bureaucracy within the Treasury Department to collect this data, this additional data. And it's very little additional data to pass off to law enforcement on owners of businesses all across the country. And they already have the information. You know, they just need to pull it from the Internal Revenue Service. And oh my God. What department does the Internal Revenue Service rest in? Oh, it's the Department of the Treasury. So they don't even have to go outside of their own department to get it. It's the same secretary that's responsible. You know, the Secretary of the Treasury is above the head of the IRS. But instead of tasking the Internal Revenue Service with turning over this information or creating, you know, or telling people in the Treasury Department to turn over this information or get this information. Now, what they do is they turn small business people into free employees of the federal government, or they turn the representatives of small business people into free employees of the federal government. Well, not exactly free, because see, if I go in there to file these reports for my clients, it cost me $249 for the privilege of being able to file these reports for my clients. To be able to collect their driver's licenses and upload the pictures of their driver's licenses and to send them their home addresses and their telephone numbers and the information off of the tax returns that they already have. So this small business in Texas, which cop shops, what they do is they sell equipment to police officers. So if you're a cop, you go in a cop shop and you can buy a holster, get, flak jacket, get a bulletproof vest, get pretty much anything you want that has to do with your job. That's associated with being a cop, all sorts of equipment. They carry it all. Anything that you're not provided by your department. And gee, that's weird. Then they sell it to you. You have to provide credentials, of course. So this small business down in Texas said, we don't want to do that. We think that this is a violation of our constitutional rights. So we're going to go to federal court in the Eastern District of Texas, and we're going to let a judge decide whether this is a violation of our constitutional rights or not. So they got a pretty good attorney to draw up a case, and it's a pretty good case because it took, about 70 pages to explain it to the court, quoting all sorts of things so the court didn't have to go look it up on their own. And the court was apparently impressed. Now you gotta remember, this is a Fifth Circuit court in Texas, so they're a pretty conservative court. And basically, what they concluded is that the plaintiffs have satisfied all the prerequisites for a preliminary injunction. The court has the authority to issue an injunction. Issue the injunction the plaintiffs seek under the Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 65D. The Corporate Transparency Act is likely unconstitutional as outside of Congress's power because the reporting rule implements the CTA. It's likely unconstitutional for the same reasons. The court has not addressed the issue of the CTA's constitutionality as applied to these plaintiffs or plaintiffs' challenges under the First and Fourth Amendments. Having determined that the plaintiffs have carried their burden, the court grants plaintiffs' motion for a preliminary injunction. Therefore, the CTA 31 USC section 5336 is hereby enjoined. Enforcement of the reporting rule 31 CFR 1010.380 is also hereby enjoined. And the compliance deadline is stayed under section 705 of the APA. Neither may be enforced, and reporting companies need not comply with the CTA's January 1, 2025 BOI reporting deadline pending further order of the court. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 65C provides that the court may issue preliminary injunction only if the movement gives security in an amount that the court considers proper to pay its cost and damages sustained by any party found to have been wrongfully enjoined or restrained. Fed our Civil Penalty 65C. The Fifth Circuit has held that the district courts have discretion to require no security. Just court cites a case from 1996. After considering facts and circumstances in this case, the court finds security is unnecessary and exercises its discretion not to require plaintiffs to post security. It is therefore ordered the plaintiff's motion for preliminary injunction, docket 6, is hereby granted. It is so ordered. Signed on this third day of December 2024, Amos L. Mazant, United States District Judge. God bless you, Judge Mazant. Now, should this case have been brought in January? Probably. But the reason it was brought now is because now it's about, well, less than 2 months before you have a peaceful change of power. And you have I invited Jen to co-host. For some reason, the space was glitching and she was not able to co-host before. But anyway, you have a peaceful change of power. And I'm guessing that since this case is against Attorney General Garland, that the new Attorney General, who will be Pam Bondi, might not want to take this up. Now the Trump administration, the previous Trump administration, didn't have any problem with the CTA, supposedly, when it was passed. But we'll see how they decide to go with this on round 2.
Hey, Chris, Mike Mello said he could co-host.
Who? Mike?
Mike Mello. Yeah, he's down. I don't know if he's speaker yet.
Oh.
If not, he's down to listening.
All right.
So, Chris, it sounds to me like you're saying that you believe that this case is worth being brought up so that because this is an unconstitutional thing that's going on that was passed, and that they want it to get actually heard before the next administration. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
I'm saying that I don't think there's enough time for the current administration to bring an appeal to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and for the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals to render a ruling before December 31st.
Yeah.
So, the Attorney General's tenure ends January the 20th. So I think that, we've been hearing, if reports are true, that there are lots of people that are skedaddling from the Justice Department.
Yep.
And we've also, we know that upon the swearing in of the president, that there'll be a letter go out to all of the assistant attorney generals who are U.S. attorneys across the country, requesting their resignations. And that happens every 4 years. That's not anything new. Unless, of course, you're president and you get reelected. And so in this case, President Trump is gonna want to make sure those letters go out pretty quickly so that he can get rid of all of Joe Biden's U.S. attorneys, especially the one that is got his ass parked in Washington, D.C. Of course, he'll probably resign before he's asked. He needs to be prosecuted.
Well, yeah. I'm just trying to hone in a little bit to understand this case specifically, though. I mean, so it sounds to me like it's definitely something that they should have fought. And you're saying the original, that it originally came to be under the first Trump administration?
Yeah, but they put it in the Defense Authorization Act. So, if they thought that this was such a great idea, that small businesses should have to report.
Yeah, why is it going through that?
Why was it not a standalone bill, or why didn't it go under the Homeland Security Department authorization? Why did you have to stick it in the Defense Authorization Act that has to pass?
Right. Well, that's probably your answer.
Well, yeah, that's where you put things. That's where you put things that the president has to sign, because he wants the defense bill passed. Whether it's a Christmas tree item or something that's controversial.
No, I hear you. I really hope that comes to an end soon, and they need to be able to have time to read these bills and not just stuff a bunch of crap in them.
Well, I mean, in 1994, in the contract with America, they passed, or tried to pass, 10 rules that Congress was going to live by. And one of them was that the bills that were passed, or amendments that were passed, needed to be germane, to whatever it was that came up. So, if you were passing, if you were passing a bill, to rename a post office, then you shouldn't have an amendment to fund the study of shrimp running on a treadmill.
I am Chief Warrant Officer
you know,
2,
to attack
Captain J. Searcy. The intended audience of this video is
Right.
because
Congress.
those two
and I
things
claim
have nothing
whistleblower
to do with
status in
each other.
accordance with Title 10 U.S. Code 1034.
Even though it
I
may be
understand that
really
making this
important
video in my uniform is a very
that we do
serious
the
decision.
research
For the
for
past
shrimp
4
running
years,
on a
I've tried to
treadmill,
rectify my situation the correct
the
way
post
through my
office
chain of command.
the post
I've
office
submitted
naming
an
bill
Inspector
and the
General
shrimp
complaint.
are
I have
not
attempted
the
resolution
same.
through my Congressman Burgess Owens. I have lost faith in my entire chain of command, including
I'm not
the
concerned with
Adjutant
the
General
shrimp.
Boyack, who has lied on an official
They're
memorandum
about to
sent
say.
to my
I'm
Congressman.
just saying.
My
you know.
Commander-in-Chief, Governor
So-
Cox, who signed off on the COVID-19 policies in 2021 for which my career is being destroyed,
It's
currently
just,
stands accused of election
you know,
interference by his opponent,
these are
Phil
things
Wyman.
that the Congress
This video is not
has-
intended to be
has
insubordinate,
done,
but I am demanding
you know,
accountability
for a
from my
long
leaders.
time.
I joined the
Please
military
stop.
in 2017 and became an Apache pilot for the Utah Army National Guard. I deployed
They,
with my
they
unit to
shove
Afghanistan in
things
2020.
in places
Shortly
that
after
they
returning
know
home,
have to
all
pass.
soldiers in the military were ordered to
It's
take
just like
an
this continuing
EUA, emergency
resolution that we've got coming up. You know, they're gonna be Christmas tree ornaments all over that before they get done with it.
I was gonna say, as it stands right now, it doesn't have anything surprising or new, according to Groff.
Well, you know, before they get done with it, you can bet that somebody's going to want something, and they're
So the only thing I've seen in it, that's like triggering, is them putting something in there, basically saying that we'll continue to fund Ukraine and that we can't negotiate peace unless Ukraine doesn't give up any of its land.
well, what does that have to do with us funding our government?
Exactly.
You know, Congress has not that many things that they're required to do. Really, you know, they're required to pass a budget, and they're required to pass appropriation bills, and there are not that many of them. And they have some oversight responsibility. This is not that difficult. Yet they find themselves involved in all sorts of things where they shouldn't be involved. Passing, you know, I mean, it's they got to go there and they got to legislate. Well, you know, at some point we have enough laws. You don't need to pass a new law every year. I mean, yeah, I'd be happy if they didn't pass a new law for 10 years. You know, come in, pass a budget, do the appropriations, and find some laws that we don't need anymore, and maybe get rid of them. You know, maybe we need to have a period of time where we go through all the laws and we get rid of a whole bunch of laws that we don't need anymore.
Kind of like Trump wants to do with regulations, right? For everyone you're going to pass, get rid of 100.
Yeah, but you've got all these laws on the books. And how many of them are still really relevant? Or how many of them were targeted, you know, for specific purposes that don't exist anymore? I mean, you take a look at just the Internal Revenue Code by itself. It's like 12,000 pages.
We can just get rid of them altogether.
It shouldn't be that hard to pay taxes.
I agree.
I mean, it really shouldn't. I can remember debates that they used to have in Congress about tax bills, where some of the older senators that had been there for a long time said, well, we passed this law about capital gains before, and this law will come back again, and I wouldn't be surprised if 5 years from now we'll be doing this all over, and we once had a law where capital gains tax was 40%. 40% on capital gains.
That's insane.
And and how does a 40% capital gains tax incentivize anybody into reinvesting into the economy? It really doesn't. So I mean, right now it's 15 or 20%, which is probably still too high, because if you're going to reinvest your money, it should be based on whether you're reinvesting your money or not. It really shouldn't, if your money continues to be invested, if you take your money out and it's not reinvested within a certain period of time, then yeah, maybe you should pay some taxes on that. But if you're going to sell $20,000 of Amazon and you're going to take it and put it in U.S. Steel, you should be able to put the whole 20 in U.S. Steel. I mean, what purpose does it do to pay taxes on the $20,000?
Right. If you're
not all of it's going to be a gain. I agree, but you should be able to take the gain along with whatever you take out and put it into the new company. And if you lose your ass, you lose your ass. That's part of it. They're not going to give you a tax credit for losing your ass. It's funny how it never works that way. Yeah, they never send you a check when you lose money in the stock market,
Of course not. Obviously not.
So we've got a hand from E equals MC squared and some other stuff. So go ahead.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Maria Christian Cow, unless you think I think I'm Einstein. I've been involved in business most of my life, and one of the things that I was involved in was helping to take care of 4 different trusts. And these trusts were investments. I know that at particular points in time in taking care of these trusts, we actually invested in losing propositions to offset capital gains, which I think is stupider than stupid, but that's what we had to do at a particular point. I'm going to bring you back to 1980. and the housing market then, you were looking at a prime rate of 18.5% prime to buy a house. 18.5%. So at that time, in 1980 through 1990, we saw some strange money happenings. Now I'm going back that far because that is about 10 to 12 years into when I was responsible for managing my own money and with the help of others. And this is when I discovered that the help of others wasn't really help, it was self-gratification. So anybody who was advising me already had their own skin in the game. So once someone was telling me to buy into waste management, they had just spent a week on the golf course courtesy waste management. What I'm driving at is if you're a person who has very little funds, mutual funds are probably the way to go, but you already know all this. The bottom line is, why does the government take what I invested, my ass, my name on the line, and then take my profit and divvy it out to themselves, but don't show me a real return? I am paying for things that are going overseas, courtesy of the United States government. I want to see that come to an end. I'd like to see that come to a swift end. Ronald Reagan made a speech when he was a president, and they installed various economic guides. And he specifically said, you are not going to see any of this fruit for the next 20 years. I remember this speech very well. It was a very aggressive speech. It was truthful and aggressive. And sure enough, Bill Clinton inherited that particular windfall. And it was all Bill Clinton did this. Bill Clinton did this. No, he didn't. Ronald Reagan did this. It's time to get really conservative about what we're doing with our money. Time to go back to a capitalistic outlook. It's not a dirty word. And I'm tired of people making it a dirty word. So I've had my rant, and thank you very much. By the way, I must say to you that in today's life, if you are in your 30s and your 40s, now is the time to start thinking about your 70s, because we really don't know what's coming up ahead. So as you're thinking about things, think about things you can actually hold in your hands. Because I fear that coming down the road, it won't matter what you own in the way of corporations that you can't touch. It's going to matter what kind of land you own. So if I had my druthers and I was advising people at this point in time who are in their 40s, who have some discretionary income, who can pick up on land, especially internally in the United States, off the coasts, and in settings that are not congested, try hard to pick up a few acres and a few acres more adjacent to that. Own land, hold land. And the reason I say this is because at the end of the day, what is really finite, what you really can't make more of, is land. I'm hoping I'm making some sense to somebody in here who needs to hear this. I'm not talking about real estate. I'm talking about land. It's nice if it has some house on it or some building on it, but it's just plain old good bottom land. And it has always stood in good stead in hard times to be able to go to one's own land and sit down on it and catch your breath. I'm not from here in the United States. I'm from overseas, but I speak your language very well. I'm an American citizen as well. And the one thing that they found out in Europe that is in very, very small uh, amounts is land. So we see wars over land in Europe and the Middle East. We're not going to see war over lands here in the United States. The center of the United States, if you fly over it, is almost dark. And that's a very good idea of where our land is that is still to be used. So in closing with my statement, you can invest in stocks, bonds, anything at all. But what is really going to return back to you is actually land, because it's really finite and useful. So I thank you for the mic, A.
Well, thank you. I think that's some sage advice, pretty much in any language. And yeah, one of the things that is one of the other many things that is piss poor about our education system, outside of the fact that they have ceased to do civic education, is that they don't really teach anybody anything about money, or how to use money, or what to what to look at as far as money goes. I mean, they don't even teach you how to balance a checkbook, or much less what a checkbook is, or how to sign a check, or anything like that. Last I heard, they don't even teach you how to sign your name. I think pretty much everybody prints things now, and depends on using your cell phone to type stuff out. And I think that we've gotten to a point in this country where we need to come full stop and really take a look at where technology has to take a back seat to common sense. And it's fine to advance. It's fine to take advantage of tools. It's fine to have really nice conveniences of life. But if there's an EMP, whether it comes from Russia or China or Iran or Ethiopia, or we just happen to get a sunspot that hits the wrong way, and we're without power, and we don't have access to satellites or cell phones or anything else. We've got multiple generations who aren't capable of a lot of things. Like reading a map to be able to get to the next town, or across the town that they live in, or to be able to make change, for themselves. Forget about running a cash register, or to, I mean, there's any number of things that you would have to do for yourself to go out and get food. Like if you had to hunt, you know, where do you get food? You get food at the grocery store. Well, suppose the grocery store is not going to be open for a while. Then where do you get food? Suppose the gas stations can't pump gas. Well, how are you going to get around? Well, you got 2 feet. Maybe you got a bicycle. You have generations that are not prepared for anything. You know, if it's not on a computer screen, or if it's not on a small screen, they have no comprehension of being able to process, and it sucks. It does. I mean, I feel bad for these people in a big way. You don't need to raise your hand. Just go ahead and go.
Call me crazy, but I don't think that's an accident. I honestly don't believe it's an accident anymore. And I'll tell you why. I spent 3 years in Marathon, Florida, in the school system there. They hired me because they couldn't hire anybody else, for real. I have no teaching certificate. I never intended to be a teacher. And the children that I was monitoring were ESD students with IEPs. And just to straighten all that out for you, that's extraordinary student education, and IEPs are individual education plans. And these are children who are in need of some sort of counseling beyond what the school system can offer. Read their discipline problems, behavior problems. And as a result of their lack of discipline and their behavior, they don't have the interest to learn anything. Home is not the greatest place in the world, and we know that when we're forming the IEP, because we're asking the parents to be there for that, and they don't come. And that's your first clue. Parent won't show up for the meeting for their kid, then the parent is either very busy at work or has no time or just doesn't care. And when you repeatedly reach out and actually make Saturday appointments or Sunday appointments and those are missed, you know the parent doesn't give a shit. So now you're stuck with a student that you're supposed to spend 8 hours with and find some way to make that person's life just a little more meaningful for the day. That's pretty lousy. That's pretty lousy. Multiply that by one tiny town, population 7,000, and then go all over the country. And what was done in this school to offset this, to maybe mitigate it in some way, instead of encouraging the students to mix with students of higher caliber, and perhaps that in itself will be an impetus to maybe dare to be more than they were. They're separated. They're separated so that they don't bother the students who are higher operating. So now what we have is de facto separation of students who are either a problem or aren't a problem. And the ones who are a problem, well, they're going to be treated as a problem. They're not going to learn anything. And they're going to be your future criminals, by the way. They're not just growing up and it's going to be a benign thing. They're growing up with very little in the way of skills. They're growing up in very little in the way of any kind of resources. So desperate people do desperate things, and that means they'll turn to crime. They'll take from someone else instead of making their own. So that the beginning of the whole venture of maybe shoring up our American society, maybe we really do need to look into our educational system very strongly and find out what it is we can do to produce a child who can produce for themselves when they become adults in the senior year of high school and walk out of that high school. Will they be able to support themselves at that point with some sort of trade and or legal method of employment? I say legal because, you know, a lot of kids turn to doing illegal things today. You'd be surprised some of the scams that are out there. So I believe that, first, let me tell you, I'm from Florida, and so we have a pretty good handle on how to survive 6 to 10 days without electricity, water, etc. And we prepare for that early in the spring, and we end our preparations sometime in 1st of June, and then we add to those preparations throughout the summer, and then we go on the roller coaster. We had Elaine this year. We had Debbie this year, and both of those were less than, well, Elaine, we know what happened in North Carolina, but it also hurt us here in Florida. At the end of the day, we didn't need FEMA as bad as North Carolina did, though, because we're prepared. I'm now breaking into my water from June. So I've been holding water in containers since June, and I'm now breaking into it because I know that I will no longer need it, and it's time to eat it and replace it, because you don't want plastic bottles to hold water for too long. It's been 4 or 5 months. So now as I use one, I'll replace one, date it, and it just sits there, and then I'll draw from that and then go back. Why am I using potable water that I buy in the store? Because I'm on a well. Why am I not using the well water? Because it's on reverse osmosis and it tastes really bad. So what do I do with it? For general purposes, I filter it through a carbon filter. When the electricity goes off here in Florida, we know what to do about that. We know how to switch over to candle power, real candle power. It's a matter of a learning curve. We need to get our country on this learning curve. Everybody needs to know what to do in the event of an emergency. We've gotten soft in this country. American mission, I'd like to see us toughen up a little more. We're better than this. We really are. Thank you.
Again, not anything to argue with there. We do have some news stories that are probably worth talking about. We had talked about this suspect in the shooting of the CEO of United Healthcare is in Center County, Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania State Penitentiary. 26-year-old man that is going to fight extradition from the state of New York. So that's a story that is going to be interesting to watch as it plays out. And you've got Putin has confirmed that the former head of Syria is in Russia, so he's not dead. Apparently, we've got a judge that's blocked Albertsons from merging with Kroger. So I guess the consolidation of the supermarkets is not something that people, or at least one judge, wants to see. I'm not sure why exactly that is a huge issue, but it'll be interesting to see how that eventually plays out. Dallas, what do you got for us?
Chris, great space. Kimmy, Mike, and all fellow MAGA patriots, top to bottom. Just want to plant these few small, tiny little seeds. Great topic, by the way. Don't fall for the distractions. Whatever news coming out, it's all premeditated and planned with the Biden regime. We all know that. What I find interesting is that we have, for the past, I don't know, a couple of days, more footage about what's happening in Syria, whether you want to look at it as a war, revolution, whatever, then we have more footage of what's happening in Ukraine for the past 2.5 years. 1. 2, we have barely any new information or updates as far as Thomas Matthew Crooks, the attempted assassination on President Trump in Pennsylvania. However, we have a lot of information about the Midtown shooter, Luigi Mangione. Okay, I just want to put it out there for everyone to pay attention to. And I'll land right there. Thank you.
Well, Dallas, let me ask you this. Do you think that this is an Italian discrimination thing going on here?
It's a great question, Chris, and I think it's a objective, question or answer, but I'm going to take that and tie it in with the topic. I think these are all distractions, right? Or the gentleman, I forgot his name, I'm drawing a blank, Daniel Penny, is that his name, who was just proven innocent?
Penny, yes.
Right. Do you guys understand, and you guys could go on the NYPD and look at the crime statistics. You guys understand how many people are dying in New York State? I mean, it's mind-boggling. There's so many killers and murderers out there right now on the streets that we don't hear nothing about. All I'm saying is, great topic, and whatever I said, I'm going to tie it into the topic. Distraction after distraction after distraction. And if I'm not mistaken, the Biden communist regime I hope I'm wrong, but getting old, but they approved another $20 billion for Ukraine.
What? Jesus.
288 million. It's
billion. 20 billion, am I correct?
No, it's actually 50 billion, but it's in the form of loans.
Okay, there we go.
Technically, it's
so in other I'm going to say this, and I'm going to land right there deep, my brother, and then you can take over. I know you're very good with analysis as far as financials and all that. So more money being laundered to Ukraine. Go ahead, Deep.
Didn't we say we were going to forgive their loans or something recently, like a few years ago?
Well,
and we're sending them more loans, quote unquote.
Yeah, I mean, look, the current Ukrainian state is not in a financial position to pay back anything anytime soon. Look, everyone knows that this is one big money laundering scheme in which Hunter Biden, the son of Joe Biden, basically has a lot of vested interests, including a bunch of shell companies in that country, which unfortunately we cannot access his laptop and go into specifics of. But yes, there's a lot of very wealthy people that are making absurd sums of money from this whole debacle. And to be honest with you, they can pretty much do what they want until January 20th. There's nothing that's going to stop them. It was nice of the speaker to kind of prevent that 24 billion going through, but now they're trying to get it in the form of loans. The other thing too, and it's just gonna, I guess, complicate negotiations. But to be honest with you, I mean, the negotiations are already kind of complicated because it's going to be hard to make Zelensky happy no matter what deal is proposed. But they're trying to get this $50 billion through so that they could have enough American aid to funnel the funding for the next few years. Because, from our legal position, what President Trump could do is obviously halt all aid to Ukraine, but he cannot force the Europeans or Zelensky to stop. So what Biden is trying to do is essentially, let's just fast forward the aid or fast forward the money as much as we can before Trump gets into power, because they know that once Trump gets into power, there won't be any more money going over. So, it's a bit of a complicated mess. Also, Dallas, one last thing I'll say, and then I'll pass the mic over. Regarding your comment on some of these cases that are happening in this country and why there's more focus on them versus others, is they want people to be distracted from the main issues. And the more people are distracted from the main issues, the more that they can get away with the type of things that they do, which includes the money laundering scheme that's been going on with Ukraine. Also includes all of the crazy kind of antics that are happening domestically. And they want to make everything in this country about race because they seem to not have anything else to talk about besides the color of your skin, which unfortunately, anybody that does just a little bit of digging besides what they're fed from the mainstream media will realize that this has nothing to do with race, but everything to do with, you could say, the elite class, or you could say.
And you know what, Deep? And I'm going to add this. Okay, again, great topic. Distractions. Black Lives Matters. Okay, are roaming around the streets since yesterday, and all I got to say is, quote unquote, perfect timing for Christmas looting.
And who's the biggest funder of Black Lives Matter? It's George Soros. Who's the biggest funder of Ukraine? It's also George Soros. I mean, it's literally the same group of globalists that want to take away all power, liberty, freedom from the American people and make their lives absolutely miserable. But that's the status of the country we live in. And, I'm sure you guys have followed, but the New York governor, Kathy Hochul, or whatever her name is, she wanted to set out $500 welfare checks to everybody. So, the idea that New Yorkers can combat inflation by getting a $500 check will solve the problem. But, look, it just goes back to the whole globalist theory, right? I mean, they want people to be dependent on a system of handouts. They want to take away your freedom and your liberty as an American citizen. And they want you to be dependent on them. They want you to be dependent on the government and the welfare system while the elites continue to consolidate and centralize power. And, look, a lot of people say that these are conspiracy theories, blah, blah, blah. I mean, look, if it was a conspiracy theory, then what has happened over the last 4 years and the last 8 years under Obama and even the Bushes, right? They were pretty much the exact same thing. It wouldn't have happened. I mean, gone are the days of the uniparty. Gone are the days of the American people just sitting by ideally watching the country crumble. And, we're in a new renaissance. We're in a golden age of American, people-oriented populism. And I think this is going to be a great 4 years. So that's all I have to say. I like chilling with you guys. You guys are a pretty cool bunch of people to chill with. So, yeah, I'll just pass the mic over.
Go ahead, Adam.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. With the Ukraine, $50 billion with the loans. Yeah, like I was saying a minute ago, I think that a few weeks back that they were talking about, forgiving those previous quote unquote loans. What I raised my hand for is I wanted to throw my conspiracy theory take toward this Luigi Maggioni situation with the CEO of United Healthcare. One thing I think is, did this guy know something from the CEO of United Healthcare that they'd want him taken out? I speak about the cabal, So, did he know something about like the COVID jabs or anything like that? Because it's interesting timing. We're getting ready to go into the new presidency, and some of us want accountability for these things, and they take this guy out and they put this guy, whoever the heck he is, Luigi Mangione. It's kind of like, it seems a little strange.
Yeah, I mean, but look, I mean, it's very strange what type of ideology people get influenced by. You have a kid who is a valedictorian, graduate of the University of Pennsylvania, top computer science guy, right? You got a pretty nice gig as well. Penn, I think, is the same school that Trump went to as well. But look, they promote a bunch of woke kind of leftist ideology. He turned out to be a hardcore anti-capitalist, and apparently, and look, I'm not defending United Healthcare. I think that the insurance industry absolutely needs to kind of be, you could say, looked at, and a lot of these companies, capitalism is great, crony capitalism is not. And I'm going to be honest with you, right? United did have a track record of denying more insurance claims than not. And he had a sick relative that perished away, and United supposedly denied coverage for his relative. And I guess he just went absolutely berserk after that. I mean, he hasn't talked, according to the latest articles, he hasn't talked to his friends and family for the last 6 months or something like that, kind of just isolated himself. And, this type of killing takes, I think, a lot of planning. And say what you want about the shooter, right? It wasn't like a perfectly executed kill, but it was a very well planned and methodical killing. So much so that it took a full 7 days, and somebody in a little town in rural Pennsylvania to kind of you could say tell the cops about the thing. I don't want to say snitch, because people will have different opinions on the whole thing, but very neutrally speaking, I think this was a very well executed killing and targeted based on a personal family grievance. But look, it goes back to a lot of the stuff they teach in colleges and universities today. If you go across a lot of American colleges and universities, they do promote this anti-capitalist, woke, you could say globalist ideology, you could say, and it's promoted in mass. Because I can only think of a handful of U.S. colleges and institutions that don't promote, you could say wokeism. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most people agree with that. But I think a lot of people are looking beyond the narratives that get promoted in academia. And I think a lot of college kids voted for Trump in this past election.
I'm not like saying anything about that. I'm looking at him kind of like a patsy in a way. Like I don't like the timeliness of this is the timing of it is really strange. Like feels like J6 a bit. You know what I mean? Like it's got that
Right.
eerie feeling.
Why now?
We want to hold them accountable as far as the medical industry and people that coerce people into taking a jab. And could you mute up for a second, please? Because it was echoing. Sorry. They coerce people into taking a jab, and it's like, okay, now we can't be upset toward them because this guy shot somebody, and if he, it's him, give him the death penalty. I don't care. You don't go around shooting people. You take them to court. You put them through the legal system, and hopefully you end up with justice. It just seems really odd. I haven't spoken about it or been posting about it just because I'm kind of like observing it. I'm sitting back and looking at it from 300 feet above or whatever the heck you want to say, 1,000 feet, whatever. And it just doesn't seem right. I don't know. Something's off about it. It's fishy. Just kind of like.
Just too convenient.
Yeah, very, very convenient for them because, now you want to stand up against medical whatever. So now instead of being a Trump supporter, you're with J6, let's say, for instance, you're against the medical establishment. Oh, now we're going to put you on a list, right? Like you've been speaking out against the medical establishment. We're going to look after you and make sure, you you don't do anything crazy or anything nuts, you know, like this guy did. So that's where I look at it, is like, where is it going to lead? Same thing with, you know, the Patriot Act. I was looking at that, you know, like, well, what are they going to, you know, it's got that eerie feeling to it. So I don't know if I trust that this is the actual killer. We'll see. We'll find out as things are more revealed.
Look at that discernment going on there.
Always.
All right. Thanks, Adam and Deep. Go ahead, no quarter.
Good evening, everybody. Everything is speculatory at this point, right? I mean, we're sitting here trying to. I don't mind these conversations really, but I'm with Adam on being skeptical of anything and everything, because these guys have proven that they can put together a scenario or an issue using other people, using other people's lives, and for whatever reason, to get us to look in the wrong, you know, look at and pay attention to the wrong stuff when something else is going on the other side. I have a lot of questions about, you know, this killing, so to speak, just based on the fact that this guy, the way he did it, he wanted to be caught. And who knows? We could sit here and speculate all day. I could come up with reasons why I believe that, you know, the way this went down, I could easily see about 3 different scenarios, 3 different situations where we could make the argument that it was done by design. And then the other side of it is the monsters that we're creating in our education systems, and why we're creating them or allowing these monsters to be created, and how they're being used to you know, to pull off some of their antics and some of their bullshit. There's just a lot of questions that we should be asking ourselves, and we should always, in my opinion, question every single solitary thing that happens like this, because we know that, you know, the George, it takes me back to the George Floyd thing, takes me back to any other, it takes me back to the Daniel Penny thing. I mean, all of these things, it seems like they're just using the bodies and minds of other people to create these catastrophes. So that's my angle. Anyway, I appreciate the mic. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Walter. Yeah, no, this guy, you know, his family history and that whole thing, you know, all the stuff that's kind of coming out, and just the way that it happened. It just, I don't know. I was talking to Jen last night about it. I was just like, it's real fishy.
Well, I mean, you know, I guess if you got to look at this as a distraction compared to other distractions, it beats the hell out of a school shooting. So
Yes.
So, you know, there's that.
One less CEO.
But you know, there's nothing inherently evil about school children. But you know, when you have evil garbage going on in the news, and it's wiped off of the face of TV and newspapers, you know, by a convenient school shooting, it you know, that never seems to grab anybody's attention. And the CEO thing seems to have taken on a life of its own in from the standpoint of United Healthcare affects probably 2/3 of the country in one way or another. But it's one guy. And the company's going to go on regardless of whether this one guy is there or not. And like Dave was saying, or Dallas rather, I mean, how many people are dying in New York City every day? This is just one more guy. It just happens to be a high profile guy. I mean, suppose this guy would have been caught in the middle of crossfire of a drug shooting. He'd still be dead, but it wouldn't have been at the hand of one person. And would we still be having the same conversation? Would it be a conspiracy that this drug gang did their turf war to take the guy out? I don't know. Go ahead, Dallas.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw a monkey wrench in here. Okay, we all know what's going on with Diddy and the Democratic Communist Party. His partner in crime, Mr. Jay-Z, and I'm saying that very loosely here, sarcastically, when he broke the news with that statement that he put out through his attorneys, and then we hear all this other noise with the other news that we've been talking about, in a way, it suppressed the news as far as what Jay-Z's dealing with right now. I mean, to me, that's big. This guy's a billionaire, right? We all been talking for the past months, who's Diddy, Puff Daddy, connected to within the politicians and, all these other power players and whatnot. Jay-Z's the same way. So when they're breaking the news all at the same time, I felt like, you know what, as far as what Jay-Z's dealing with right now, it should have been 100 times worse, right? But for whatever reason, his situation, as far as him putting out a statement, Jay-Z, that is, through his attorneys, at the same time, where the verdict came out for Daniel Penny, and at the same time, they found this kid, Miglione, or whatever his name is, in Pennsylvania. I don't know, it's just too much of a coincidence, right? And I don't know, just my opinion, figure I'll throw a monkey wrench in here.
I didn't look at it like that, but I agree.
If you guys look into that kid from Pennsylvania, his family, look, there's a difference between being rich and wealthy. Wealth does not run out, right? I'm a business guy myself. I'm in real estate. I work construction. I do real estate properties, all that shit. His family owns 2 country clubs. They own a radio station. And then they have real estate portfolios, not properties, portfolios. So what made this kid do this? I don't know. It's just too much of a coincidence. I hear what you guys have to
Well,
say.
let's not forget about the whole nursing, healthcare clinic things that they own too, because that's got to play into it somehow, right? I mean, United Healthcare, and then you've got this nurse facilities. I think they do like training, or I don't know.
And then at the same time, crooked Joe Biden, or Biden, crime families, what I like to say is, other than the Biden communist regime, they're sending another whatever, 20 or 50 billion dollars in loans, or whatever. Money is money. That's how I look at it. It all just happened at the same time. What a coincidence. A light bulb turns on.
Well, interestingly, and I saw Rose down in the audience, I was going through some of the stuff that she was putting out. I guess something came out today about the Global Engagement Center and how they were shutting that down. The State Department's shutting that down and dispersing the employees into other areas. So they're basically wrapping up the Global Engagement Center, which that was a major player in the 2020 election, and they've done all kinds of nefarious things throughout the last 4 years. But they're shutting it down to essentially so that they can shred all the documents and scatter the people to the wind.
Well, if the Doge department was already running, they'd be fired. They would be, well, not fired, nicely let go of.
Well, the situation with what's going on here with Ukraine is I just I cannot believe that that Biden is going to continue to go down this path, knowing that that Trump is completely against it, that he's going to be out of office really shortly, and that the spigot is going to be closed.
Yeah, but 2 weeks ago you had Blinken out there saying we are going to give them every resource we possibly can
for what purpose? And
they want to wreck it as much as
I've
possible.
said this many times. I will say it again. The United States of America, arguably the world's superpower, paid the enemy of Ukraine. Us, we paid the enemy of Ukraine, Russia, $55 million per astronaut for a round trip Uber ride to the International Space Station. Now, the technology that it takes to send a rocket, a spaceship to the International Space Station is not something that you just write on the back of an envelope. Anybody can do it. So far, besides the Soviets, us, and Elon Musk, nobody really has that kind of technology. China may be close, but that delicate telemetry is something that is really special. And for NATO or NATO countries or NATO leaders or members of the United Nations or UN leaders or members of our military or Joe Biden or our Secretary of State or whoever it might be who currently represents this administration to come out and propose the preposterous remark that if only we give another few $1 billion in aid and more weapons to Ukraine, that they will be able to defeat the people that we paid $55 billion a piece per astronaut for an Uber ride to the International Space Station, that they will be able to defeat them. Because countries who can have the technology to send a rocket to the International Space Station aren't going to be defeated by a country whose best technology is money laundering. Not going to happen.
I mean, they're gonna.
That's not going to happen. And you know, you've killed hundreds of thousands on both sides for basically no reason. You've destroyed a shitload of Ukraine's infrastructure for basically no reason.
Well, Mike Ben's on Joe Rogan the other day.
Over what?
Land?
Well, I mean, even so, you know, killing hundreds of thousands of people is not worth being able to negotiate to resolve these issues. Now, I understand Ukraine is a sovereign country, but you got to do the math. And how many of these people need to be sacrificed, and you still end up with the same result. And these are the people who say they're the adults in the room who believe in diplomacy. I haven't seen a hell of a lot of diplomacy.
Well, Chris, I put up in the nest and I put down in the chat the thread that somebody did on when Mike Benz went on Joe Rogan. And, you know, we're all familiar with Mike Benz, but now he's finally getting like kind of mainstream. And so you're seeing all the people kind of, you know, the spotlight is on USAID, the spotlight's on the State Department. And what Mike said was they essentially used Ukraine as sort of a test guinea pig for the coup that they performed on us.
Well, that's interesting. I'll have to take a look at it. But yeah, you know, I've known Ukrainian people for a lot of years, and my basic concept and understanding of the Ukrainians that I have met and known is that they're generally really good people. You know, they work hard, they're pretty honest folks. I've never been cheated by one. One of the Ukrainians that I knew was a really great American. Came here when he was 3. Served in our military, served at the highest levels of the Justice Department, put away some pretty significant spies. Lost one case that he didn't want to take. Brilliant man.
Well, Walter and Dallas' hand were up, but Dallas.
So I think Dallas was first and then Walter.
Yeah, I'll make it short. Can y'all please send a mic to Bumble? I have a couple of questions for him. I heard him in a space talking about opening up a chapter of the Black Lives Matter in Cambodia.
Yes, right, brilliant.
Well,
I sent him.
Bumble's been invited.
Cambodia, isn't that where Diddy gets his breast milk? Cambodian breast milk. You've never seen that Dave Chappelle skit?
I have not, but I'm gonna have to go find it now.
It's pretty funny. Yeah.
With that, Walter, your hand up.
I saw.
Yeah, go ahead, Walter.
Yeah, Walter.
Yeah. I love the way Chris probes at these questions. And that's why I can sit and listen to him, ask these questions, and they come from, his heart. They come from a good place. And I think that's why, that's why I hope you keep your heart in that place, Chris, because mine is always geared towards skepticism. And I look at things from not, my carnal mind, but my spirit, and when we ask the questions that nobody can in this space can justify some of the things that they've done or that are being allowed to happen, and how our money is just being tossed around and washed in all these different countries and wars. And I can only come to one conclusion, and we can't, I don't think we can forget these 3 words. But whether we see it or not, or want to believe it or not, there's still this thing that's going on that's going to continue to go on, and we're going to continue to try to avoid it and turn our heads the other way. The New World Order is a real thing, and it's going to continue. It always has. It always will. And that they do want it, just like Kimberly was saying, they want to tank us all financially. And put us in a place, well, they can spiritually and emotionally and physically and everywhere else they would do that too. But my mindset is, who was it? Reagan. The answer for we win, you lose. That's my attitude. We have to just stay in the fight and understand that evil exists. And we'll never understand this stuff simply based on the fact that it's evil. It's not meant to be understood. So we just fight with the tool that God gives us and understand that this is a spiritual war, a spiritual battle, more than it is, a physical or carnal way. We don't want to think of it that way. We can't, because we'll get lost and try to find answers where there are no answers. The only answer is, we win, they lose. Appreciate the mic.
Well, Walter, I think that I'm not naive.
I know that, Chris. I hope you wouldn't take it that way.
I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to cast any aspersions. What I'm saying is that, in globally, I'm not naive. I understand that, sometimes it's necessary to just, go out and buy yourself a country. Okay. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. If we need a country and we need to go, buy a country, then, let's just go do it. But we don't need to massacre, hundreds of thousands of people to accomplish that. It's there are other ways to manage that problem.
I agree, but in this world that we live in, I know you've seen the movie Game of Thrones. There's just going to be two types of people: the takers and the taken. And and we're trying to separate ourselves as the United States of America and bring in new idea, but we still have to understand that idea it might be popular here, but it's just not with leaders, and it's not the people that we have the problem with. Obviously, that. It's the leaders of these different countries and these cults. So,
well, we need to bring up Bumble because he's got some wise sage advice. So go ahead, Bumble.
Thank you, Professor. So, I heard my name. I think it was Dallas mentioned my name. But I'm here to refute that allegation. I'm not opening a Black Lives Matter chapter in, what was it?
Cambodia.
Yeah, Cambodia. No, that's fake news. But what I would beseech Dallas to try and do is to get some compas together and go down to New York City tonight and grab up Hawk Newsom and put him on the short bus to the Pine Barrens. That's what I think. And you people, yes, and I mean all of you, need to look up stoicism. Notice, but don't react. Your reaction is killing you. I yield.
Bumbles, thank you. We are heartened to know that you're not going to be taking a trip to Cambodia or Azerbaijan or anywhere else. And God bless you. So
speak for yourself. I wanted to see that video.
Joe Emery, go ahead.
Yeah, listen, man, it's gonna be hard to follow that up. I mean, it was pretty embarrassing. Let me be honest with you. But anyway, Derek Chauvin is the greatest cop in American history. Frank Rizzo might be the greatest, but he's second greatest. He took multiple serial rapists out. There's nothing they can do about it. The liberals are dancing. They're dancing just like anytime a guy's got a long criminal record, they dance when a good person takes a bad man out. It's embarrassing, but there's nothing they can do about it now because Donald Trump's in office. So they will have to dance on strings like they've always done. And there's nothing they can fucking do about it. But let me just say, on January 20th, when Donald Trump gets elected, oh my God, wait for them riots. It's going to be embarrassing. And let me tell you, they're going to be dealt with immediately. They're going to be dealt with immediately. But yeah, Derek Chauvin is a fucking beast. He's a great cop. He did his job that day. No more women getting raped from George Floyd. Hey, George, you're sober now, boy. Yeah, you're sober now, son. These little clowns in here are younger. They're probably in their 20s. I'm 34 years old, man, born in November on 1990, baby, in Pennsylvania, the greatest state in American history. There's nothing you can fucking do about it. Thank God for the Patriots. Thank God for the cops. Thank God I'm not a cop, man. I would never be a cop, as I tell you right now. If a guy got smart with me, I'll smack the fuck out of him. I wouldn't even need a gun, trust me. If he pulled a gun on me, I carry it all the time, son. They wouldn't do that on an American citizen. Why do we give cops if a cop pulls a gun, right? He's got to go to court. If an American citizen does it, he's good. As long as they got it. Cops have no rights nowadays because of these liberal mayors in these major cities. It's a fucking joke. It's a fucking embarrassment. I know most people here are probably going to disagree with me. Thank God for the cops, firefighters, especially the EMS. Thank God for them. And Donald Trump 2024, ladies and gentlemen. And there's not a fucking thing anybody can do about it. Thanks for having me up. And fuck George Floyd. He's sober now.
Hey, Joe, you from Minnesota?
No, man, I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, brother. I live in Delaware County, PA, man. I got out of West Philly. I was born and raised in West Philly, brother. I got out of that shithole. What a dump. I still like the Eagles, though. I don't know why, but I'm an Eagles fan. Yeah, of course, because I'm from Philly, man. Fuck it.
Bumble. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah. How come everybody in Philly claims to have the best cheesesteak? Every friggin' restaurant has the greatest cheesesteak. There's no way. You gotta fact check these restaurants. There's no way. They all have the greatest. I've been there. I've tried some of them. Most of them are good. Some you can't tell the difference. But yeah, I'm sure there's a few subpar outlets. And speaking of Philly, I got a bone to pick with these liberal elite women who are trying to celebrate this CEO assassin, saying all kinds of things like they never would have turned him in, or he's cute, or whatever, and they try to celebrate him. Well, I got news for all these liberal elite women. You're never gonna see Bumble's penis.
I had a hard time hearing that guy. Did anybody else hear that dude? I really had a hard time hearing him. He must be sick. But no, I want to comment on it because all I heard was Philadelphia cheesesteak. Bro, I could care less about Philadelphia cheesesteaks. I care about the city of Philadelphia. The Constitution and Declaration of Independence was signed here. It's by far, and without Pennsylvania, Trump wouldn't even be elected right now. It's by far the most historic state. And the city's a shithole right now. Don't get me wrong. But it's the best city in America, in the world. Because without Philadelphia, George Washington and Thomas Jefferson would have never signed the Declaration and the Constitution. It blows every city combined in America out of the water. So, yeah, cheesesteaks are cool to talk about. We got the best sports fans. That's cool to talk about. But the bottom line is, without Philadelphia and Frank Rizzo, we wouldn't have no fucking country. Thank God for Philly, because there would be no. I guess you don't like the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, bro.
I like that.
I like that a lot, bro. I like that a lot. Thanks, man. I couldn't hear him. Could you? Anybody hear him? My thing was turned off. My phone's fucking up, I guess.
What's the matter? You got potatoes in your ears. Hey, listen. I know Frank Rizzo, and I'm gonna go and borrow his fucking tools, and then I'm gonna come down there and slap you upside the head.
Did you hear that?
I'm having trouble hearing him. I don't know what's wrong with him. You don't like cops, I know that. I don't know. I mean, what's
He's
wrong?
vaccine injured, just saying, if you couldn't hear him.
Oh, vaccine injured. Well, that explains it. Yeah, never take the backs,
I know,
folks.
I know the space is going to take.
I got fired from a job from not taking the backs, and all of a sudden I got a better job. That was God. Beautiful. It was biblical.
Oh, here comes Jen. Hey, Jen.
If you took the vax, yeah, it's gonna be over within 5 years. And I hope nobody in here took the vax.
Who's this
It's embarrassing.
It's Jover. Anyways, Dallas, you had a question?
From Philly, Jen.
Yeah, Bumble. Well, Jen, you want to go first?
Yeah, Jen, can you check out the
Nah, take care of my lightweight for me.
Okay, Bumble. Can you hear me?
right here, Goomba?
Let me tell you something. I don't like your tone today.
Well, you know what? I got an extra seat on the short bus.
And you know what? I don't appreciate the fact. I don't appreciate the fact that you elaborating about your calzone down there. Okay.
I had a calzone today. Broccoli, chicken, and hamburger. It was awesome.
You guys are so funny.
Let me wait. One more thing. I'm sorry, Kim. Is it Joey? Can you hear me?
Yeah, bro, I can hear you, man.
Is this the same Joey from Philly, Joey Blackbird, or Joey Silvertongue?
I'm neither one of them, bro. I've been Joe ever since I came on this thing right here.
He's from.
You don't like Derek Chauvin either. I'm guessing you're a George Floyd guy. I don't know, man. I've never heard from you. You know what I mean? I'm a Trump supporter. I know most people ain't gonna like that, but listen, Donald Trump, make America great again, baby. Secure that wall.
Yo, you need to read your audience a little better, dude.
I don't get. I'm talking to somebody else. I don't. You sound like a man now, or you sound like a woman. I mean, what are you gonna do?
I'm sorry.
It's a different.
I know you might not like Trump, but listen, he's a beast. Oh well.
I think we've gone off the rails.
Liberals keep crying, Jen, keep crying. Nothing you can do about it.
Are you literally retarded? Did your mother
Are you
drop you on your head
retarded?
as a child?
Get him, Jen. Get him.
Are you?
Go, Jen.
It's about to get.
This woman's got TDS syndrome, folks. Have a good night.
You're
This
wrong,
woman has
Fucking moron. Get out of here.
You're reading the room wrong.
Philadelphia, idiot. That's why we don't talk to people from Philly.
Except Vinny.
You used to pull those Philly cheesesteaks out of his
cool.
ears.
But I'll keep my
Vinny's
New York law of not talking to people from Philly.
Yeah, sorry, Jim. Vinny's from around Philly, which is different.
Oh, right. Vicinity.
Yeah.
Dude, why are people from Philly such douche canoes?
I told you about my DC subway trip, didn't I?
No.
We had a Philly fan at a Redskins game once, and we got on a train at RFK, and we got to a car, and they had this Philly fan and his buddy, and the guy had a Eagles jersey on, and he must have had as many beers as anybody could possibly consume and still be upright.
Hey, Kim.
Yes.
They have a new factory down there in Philly. They make douchebags.
You know, Philly has its historical relevance, most definitely. It is very important.
And I love that
very
about
revered. I love that, yeah. But West Philly is a shithole, and it's full of crackheads and all sorts of crap. So that's probably what he's been dealing with, why he's so upset. Maybe try getting involved in your local government, dude, and stop, expecting Trump to do everything for you. Get involved in your local government and make a difference, or shut the fuck up.
I'm just wondering if he knows what a fool he looks like for saying I have TDS.
Right?
I know, Jen. I was waiting for the punchline. I wasn't sure if he was kidding or
He
not.
just didn't even bother to go look at your.
No, exactly. Like he's a fool and he's showing it.
Wow, what did I miss, guys? What did I miss?
Well, I
The
removed.
entertainment of the night.
I finally had to remove him. I'm sorry.
He's like, you guys are probably around 20 or something. Like, yeah, you just turned 40,
he comes
bro.
in
I
with
turned
the
44.
overdone accent, trying to act like he's all cool. He's from West Philadelphia, born and raised on a
He's from
playground where he
Westchester,
spent most of his
Westchester.
days, chilling and relaxing, all cool, and playing little b-ball outside his school.
And we all hate Trump.
And then
Oh, yeah.
he accused Jen of having TDS. That's a new one, by the way. That's a new one for me.
And then he said, if it wasn't for Philadelphia, Trump wouldn't have got elected. Last time I checked, it was a nationwide landslide.
Assumption is a big motherfucker, and he came up here in here assuming things, and he didn't know. Like, what did this look like a lefty room to you or something? Like,
Bumble, have you heard back from Luca the Hammer yet?
but I heard from Luca Brasi, and he sleeps with the fishes.
No, Dallas, but did you talk to that guy about that thing? You remember?
You guys are dorks.
Hey, Kim.
Yes.
I'm flying blind here, so.
We got no hands. It's free time.
Oh, we have one hand now. Conservative MAGA. Go ahead.
MAGA.
No, I just wanted to. I'm cooking right now. I'm going to show you what I'm cooking after I'm done. But I was dying from. He did not read the room. It must have been his first space or something. It was hella funny though.
Yeah.
Keep it up. I'm cooking here.
Well, I really wish that there was like where you could put them like in the penalty box where they couldn't leave the room, and then you could just blast them and they can't talk. That would be awesome. We need one of those. Elon, penalty box, please.
I like that idea, penalty box.
Right? So you could put them in there.
You could hang out in the room.
Yeah. Yeah, you could put them in there for like 2 minutes and they can't talk, but you can talk to them. They can hear you.
Yeah, penalty box for trolls.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
like you have to chat, like,
And all they
right,
can see on their screen
YouTube
is poop porn.
and YouTube and stuff. You can mute them for 1 minute, 5
All right,
minutes.
so do we want to talk a little bit about this whole Global Engagement Center takedown?
Kim, could you hear me?
Kim, can you hear Kelly?
Oh, no, sorry.
Oh, that explains that. Okay.
Yeah.
It's probably
we were
me.
talking over her a little bit. You can't hear her, I guess.
Well, it's probably me, so because I've been in and out of the car, and so let me drop down. I'll be back.
I felt like a ghost for a minute there. I was like, Kim.
I heard you, Kelly.
Thank you, Adam.
Spaces,
What's Adam? Do you have any updates on X on the video department? On video?
I'm hoping next year within
Next year,
I don't know.
Adam, you were our beta tester. Beta,
I'm gonna
sorry.
I'm not a beta, damn it.
Well, you,
I'm just kidding.
You're
Well,
Sigma.
You were getting the new stuff first, though. Remember? You're not getting the new stuff anymore?
Yeah, definitely. I crashed, what's it called? Diligent Space doing it. Oops.
Oopsie.
Everyone's like, wow. And then boom, wow. Oops.
Good old Alpha Adam.
What am I, beta? Because I'm over 44 now?
Well, I'll just say hello again to our people that are listening on the streams on X Live, Rumble, and Pilled, and Kick, and YouTube. So there's that. So hi.
And I'd like to apologize to all the affiliates for my antics. The end.
But we all love you, Bumble.
Yeah, Bumble.
Come on.
You kind of stepped on it. I'm not sure whether you could actually step on it or not, but yeah.
Stepped on what? What'd I miss?
I don't know. I must have missed it too. I didn't think he did anything wrong. What?
Someone, maybe Bumble could elaborate, but someone accidentally stepped on his calzone last week.
Oh, his calzone. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
That's what you call it.
except that he used a medically acceptable term this time.
He started blaspheming about Frank Rizzo, and I wasn't going to have any of it.
Just speaking of Frank Rizzo, wasn't his punchline "open your ears, jackass"? This guy needed to open his friggin' ears. What a jackass.
Bumble, why don't you tell about your next door neighbor who's being investigated by the feds with his prosthetic penis?
No. Actually, the carousel, see, the neighborhood watch was being replaced by the Muslim Brotherhood in my neighborhood. And they were moving, these liberals were buying houses. And then they were moving in carousels and housing them across my courtyard. So when I went to my second story bathroom window, they didn't have curtains. So when I was smoking, I could see right in. And they were very loud. And it was a 2-bedroom apartment. And they had like 8 guys living there. So the good thing is that they moved out about a month ago. So now I've grabbed hold of the neighborhood watch and I'm watching.
Well, I'm glad they moved because they were messing with you bad.
Yeah, I watched them. They're in the kitchen and the stove was going, with the burner. 2 guys had one of the guys, and they were trying to force his face down onto the burner. I'm like, man. So I had a little flashlight, and I started shining and waving across the courtyard until they let him go. I think I prevented a murder.
Bumble, why don't you just tell anyone about why don't you tell the folks about the Chinese prostitutes in Philly?
I don't know of any Chinese prostitutes in Philly. I personally have never taken advantage of any prostitute whatsoever. I usually wait for the authentic ladies to come to me.
Devolving into prostitutes now, are we? Hey, Aaron. Nice to see you.
Hey, what's up?
Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get my stuff unpacked, so give me a minute.
Commander, can you hear me?
I can. I don't know how to respond.
That's fine. I'm gonna change topic. You pretty well versed as far as what's happening in Middle East. What's your take on, the situation in Syria? Your personal opinion.
It's a shit show, and a lot of competing interests. And I hope to God that the DoD was supporting one terrorist group and the CIA was supporting another terrorist group, and they've shot at each other. And we got U.S. forces in the east of Syria. We've got Israeli IDF only 25 miles from Damascus. We got Turkish supported terrorist groups. We got the Kurds. It's a shit show. I don't really know how to unpack it all, to be honest.
Do you think Biden regime will ultimately get U.S. troops involved before Trump's inauguration?
Well, there's already, like I said, a sizable presence. You got some air wings that are in different bases in the Middle East. There's just a lot of shit going on. What no one talks about, not trying to change the subject on you, but is the Houthis are still really active, shooting their missiles and their drones. Every day, I don't know why there's not film crews from the mainstream media on the destroyers in the Red Sea or the Gulf of Oman. Why they're not, showing us what's going on literally every day. That's going on too. But I don't know. I think that first of all, Biden's not doing anything. He's eating ice cream. It's Jake Sullivan and it's other people. It's the deep state. I think, they want to make it confusing and tangled before he gets sworn in.
Commander, there's no good war correspondents anymore. We used to fill up theaters watching for reports from the front line. Now we may get something that's produced on a Hollywood soundstage, if that.
Yeah, I agree, Bumble. There is no, they don't want to show anything that might put Biden in a bad light or his administration. I mean, we've seen that for the last 4 years, but I don't know. I'm watching Syria like everyone else and see what shakes out. I do know that I feel really bad for the people. I feel bad for the civilians caught in the crossfire. And if you're part of the Christian minority, now you better go into hiding or flee or something, because they're going to be after them. We've already seen videos on X and other places of the HTS, the Al Qaeda affiliated group that Turkey supports. They're already rounding up Christians and torturing them, and it's terrible. It's an ugly war.
Yeah, Dallas was commenting earlier that he was impressed with the fact that we've seen more footage out of Syria in the last week than we've seen out of Ukraine in the last 3 years.
Do we think it's fake? I mean, I've always had this sense that it was all fake.
What's fake, Kim?
The Ukrainian war.
It's all orchestrated. All of it. It's all about making and selling weapons. They're not real wars.
Yeah, I agree with Bumble. We need conflict to sell weapons.
Well,
and NATO thrives on conflict as well. Why do we need NATO?
Yeah, when we accumulate too many stale dated weapons, they have to be disposed of in order for us to get new weapons. or to invigorate our stockpile for ourselves. So that requires us to have a conflict so that we can sell our stuff so we can get new stuff.
Yeah, I know the company line, but I feel like basically what they did with that, the pullout of Afghanistan and then this war, is they basically just wanted to take all the weapons and all of the strength that Trump had put into our military and gut it.
Well, the sellout, what they did in Afghanistan is they turned all those weapons that they left over there into basically a candy store for whoever wanted to buy what we left behind, in order that there would be kickbacks for the powers that be.
I wanted to say we don't need NATO. NATO needs us, anyways, in that regard.
Well, we are NATO, Adam. I mean,
yeah, nobody else is NATO but us, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we foot the bill, we foot everything, right?
I mean, they go to the meetings and bitch and complain, but when shit comes to shove, we're the ones that do the work.
When shit comes to shove, that's a new one, and I like it.
And about 80% of the budget too.
One could say that we're their sugar daddy.
Yeah, are we getting anything for that though?
Well, I mentioned it yesterday in Manic Monday space about Romania. Look what NATO basically forced the Romanian Supreme Court to overturn what I think was probably a legitimate election for a guy who they claim is pro-Russian, and they used the same playbook they used in 2020, or even before in 2017, talking about Russian interference in the election, and I think that's a bunch of shit too.
Speaking of NATO, I just put up an interesting graph. Sometimes when you see a visual of something, it means more, but NATO is technically US, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Trump said we're pulling out, right? Or am I wrong?
I mean, let's hope so.
I don't think he said we're pulling out. He's definitely going to hold their feet to the fire and make them spend more of their money. I mean, let's see. When did World War II end? We still have troops in Germany.
Yeah.
That's to support the American global hegemony. I love my country, but you know what? The infrastructure in our country is falling apart. Like the bridge in Baltimore, is that thing fixed yet? Does anyone know? And what really happened to the train derailment in Ohio, in Palestine, Ohio? Bridges are falling apart. Roads got potholes everywhere. Where's all that money that Biden administration supposedly was going to spend in the second year of his administration on infrastructure that Congress gave him all that money? Where is all that money? Oh, it went to Africa. Oh, it's going to Ukraine. It's going, it's going everywhere except where people need it in America. So I'm an America first guy.
I don't think you'll get any argument out of anybody else in this room. I think that again, we haven't had control, we haven't had power, and they're going to do everything they can to wreck it as much as they possibly can, so that Trump spends the first 100 days cleaning up their mess instead of innovating and getting us to the next step.
Who wants to take a bet on whether or not Disease X will hit before, at, or right after the inauguration? Who has their theory on Disease X?
I'm going to take the over.
I already see idiots wearing masks. I was driving this morning to the gas station, and I see this guy riding on his scooter with his two kids. Obviously, he can't afford a car, I guess, but he had them wearing masks. It's like, you're on the sidewalk. There's no one around. Let your kids breathe some fresh air, you idiot. And
I sat next to a masker on the plane.
And then I went to Wendy's and I got a breakfast chicken biscuit. and the lady behind the window is wearing a mask, and I'm like, what the hell's going on right now? Are these idiots like coming out again? You know?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was sitting next to one on the plane, and it took everything I had to not just turn to her and be like, you know, those don't work, right? You're making yourself sick.
Well, you know, Adam, you don't want the woman hocking a Louis into your chicken.
Well, I smiled.
chicken
Trust me, I
sandwich.
smiled. I was friendly, of course, as I am usually. You know, I'm cordial to people. But you know, my God,
Well, did
man,
you
I
see?
was like,
yeah.
Did you see that where it came out that a study came out today, I believe it was, about the shedding, that they proved that it was true, that it was happening because it was messing with women's menstrual cycle.
Oh boy, menstrual cycles. Anyways, on that note,
Could that be
hands up.
Kim, could that be? Sorry, Aaron. I'll make a quick point and then I'll shut up. But Kim, could that be related to what Jen shared last night about dick flu?
Maybe shedding is causing dick flu.
You went and looked that up, Commander.
Yeah,
I ran it yesterday in Grok, and I posted the results in the space last night. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it. What can you post it in this space?
Yeah, I think I did a screenshot of what Grok said about it.
You know, you can always go. You can go into your history and Grok. There's a little clock up at the top right. You click on that, and it'll show you your last, pretty much everything you've done in Grok.
All right, go ahead, Aaron, while I look for the Grok answer on dick flu. Hold on.
And make sure you don't ask us for images, okay? Go ahead, Aaron.
You guys saw that Ben Shapiro left the Daily Wire, right?
No.
How could he leave Daily Wire? He owns it.
I thought he was a co-founder.
Ben Shapiro's a bitch.
You guys obviously didn't catch my drift. Brad Cooper left the Daily Wire.
Oh, female Ben Shapiro. Okay.
Still haven't seen what's his name? Dylan Mulvaney and Ben Shapiro in the same room. So pretty sure that's Ben Shapiro's alter ego.
Do we have a half-naked Bill Clinton on stage?
Does somebody
Technically.
who's fat figuring?
We do. It's a bit of fun. It's not my political views whatsoever. I thought it was funny. Sorry.
Oh, it's fantastic. I love it. He wishes he looked like that.
Yeah, yeah. Both of us do, yeah. Both of us do.
He looks like he's like half dead. I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day about that because that's sort of my go-to when I'm talking to Democrats. It's like, man, Bill looks real bad.
That's your go-to? Is that what you look up every day? Oh, well,
yeah.
Whatever floats your boat. Whatever floats your boat.
That's my icebreaker with Democrats. Bill Clinton looks real bad right now. What's going on with him? He not sucking enough children's souls out?
I classify it as the old Democrats because, as we all know, there's old Democrats and the new Democrats. So I suppose the old Democrats from 1990s or 1980, they weren't that adhered to this liberal nonsense bullshit. So I suppose there's old Democrats and the newer generation since the 2000 Democrats. I think we can all agree with that. There was two different types of Democrats, and the new Democrats is the liberal woke psychopathic agenda.
So what are the
old 1990s?
What are the Clintons?
What are the Clintons? I'm not I am no supporter of the Clintons.
No. I'm
they're the
are
old,
they new
old
Democrats or are they old Democrats?
Well, I suppose it's a kind of it's a difficult situation. You have to go, like Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. I suppose there's two different types of policies and two different type of geopolitics that you would associate with both of them. I'd say Bill Clinton himself, his policies or his financial policies was the old Democratic Party. Hillary Clinton herself was the new Democratic Party of wokeism and bullshit. So I'd say the two of them are very different. And I just want to get straight out. I'm no supporter of Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton. I just thought it was a funny picture, so I put it up. So I want to get that clear.
So basically, Bill Clinton goes to the closet to take care of business, and Hillary walks in the woods.
Basically, yeah. Basically, if you want to say that, yeah. Basically, yeah.
As long as she's got her box of wine, she's good.
So Aaron, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. You were going to say something. Maybe I missed it. I don't know.
No, I just made a joke that Ben Shapiro left the Daily Wire.
Oh,
and
is that
you
it?
know, it's actually Brett Cooper.
Oh, okay. Nothing beyond that.
No.
A man of many words tonight, Chris.
Just it's. I just find it difficult. That's all I had to say. That's all.
Is everything okay, Aaron?
Yeah, are you feeling okay?
Right? Like what?
Well, I'm busy posting very sad GIF memes under Brett Cooper's announcement. So.
Oh, you're trolling. So you're busy. You're like, you're giving us half of your attention.
No, I'm good.
No,
Not too much to say.
okay.
I'm just listening in.
I didn't want to deny you your ability to pontificate. That's all.
Although, one thing, I am thinking about the people in Syria. That is something I'm keeping a close eye on.
Can somebody give me a brief overview of what happened? Because I'm not up on Syria. I mean, I just saw some headlines, but didn't really comprehend what's going on.
I'll open it up. It's about the pipeline that's going from Qatar all the way into Europe, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, if anyone wants to know, Assad, it's hilarious. Assad was in Buckingham Palace in 2005. It's kind of like a mini kind of Iraq again with Saddam. Assad was literally meeting the Queen in 2005 in Buckingham Palace. It was our friend. Now we've decided it's not our friend anymore, so we've got rid of him. With the US military, CIA, Mossad, Israel, they are no longer our friends, but they were our friends, very much our friends, and now they're gone.
Well, apparently Tulsi Gabbard must have gotten herself in a trick bag over her comments, because she had to clarify herself here. So.
What were those comments? I want to hear all about this.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what she said in the past. She has been personally to Syria, and her comments have basically been that Syria is not a country that the United States has a strategic interest in, and therefore we don't need to pay attention to Syria's civil war, and we don't need to be drug into that. And
basically, Tulsi met Assad. She had a meeting with him.
Yeah.
It was a good meeting. It was in the interest of the United States for political reasons. Assad, a bit like Saddam Hussein, kept Al Qaeda under control. So there's a lot. I don't know if a lot of people know, but there's a lot of Christians in Syria. A lot of Christians, hundreds of thousands of Christians are in Syria. Assad, whatever you watch on the news or CNBC or Fox News or whatever you're going to see it on X or whatever. Assad wasn't as bad as they're going to make it out to be. It just wasn't economically interested anymore for the United States, so he was got rid of. But Assad basically was the enemy of Al Qaeda, and now ISIS and Al Qaeda have taken over Syria. So it's kind of it's very tricky. You kind of have to do your own research on it. It's very kind of, once you Google Assad and you Google Al Qaeda and ISIS, he was no friend of either one of them. But it was geopolitically interest for the United States and the UK and Europe to get rid of him, just like Gaddafi. So
it's just causing more problems.
It was in it was in the geopolitical interest of Barack Obama to get rid of him. But I you know, we were having this discussion the other night, and so my position is that, you know, Syria was not our problem. Syria was the problem of Russia, because Syria is a Russian client state. And so if anybody was going to be dealing with Syria, it should have been Russia. And we shouldn't have not had our hands in their problems. You know, if we were going to deal with the problem in Syria, we needed to deal with Russia, like we used to do back when the world was split up between us and Russia. You know, it was a little bit more simple to deal with that, you know.
But Biden won't talk to Putin, so
and so yeah, Russia's got military bases in Syria. Russia has strategic interest in Syria. Russia has had conversations with Syria and the Jews. Russia's had conversations with Syria and Iran. You know, Russia had that situation basically under control. You know, we had some issues in there where we were involved with Turkey. The Russians, you know, got involved with us in a situation where they got their feelings hurt because, you know, we bombed their ass when they were in the wrong place. But hey, you know, fuck with the bull, you get the horn.
Yeah, but don't forget, America, though, there's a lot of, for every action, there's a reaction. So I suppose, look at Libya, the fucking mess that were there. Look at Iraq, the mess that was there. It was a mistake. Iraq was a mistake. Libya was a mistake. And Europe, all of our brothers and sisters, you can probably tell by my accent, I'm American, but, you know, I'm Irish as well as born Irish. Every action has a reaction. After Gaddafi fell in Libya, it caused the migration crisis in Europe. Every action has a reaction. This is not good. Assad falling is not good. It's great for Israel. Brilliant. Go Israel. They can make more land. They can push into the Golden Heights more. It's great for them. It's not good for the United States, because migration is going to cause double. Do you know how many refugees are going to have to? And where are they going to go? They're going to go to Europe. They're going to go to the United States. They're going to go to Canada. They're going to, you know, sorry, Canada.
You've got
never
tons of Syrian refugees that are in the UK already, you know, and in France. From the last shitload of.
I was going to say, we've been fucking with them for a long time and we shouldn't have been.
But anyway, Commander, you're like co-host, so you don't have to like have a hand up.
Well, I just wanted to add, I mean, take a 300,000 foot view. Syria is in the triangle of Turkey, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. And so that's not good real estate. And I think there's been an internal civil war in the Democrat camp between the Obamas and the Obama people who support Iran. Right, like he half-heartedly did the line in the red line thing with Assad many years ago. He never followed up on his tough talk because, you know, Assad was a client of Iran. But Turkey has made it clear under Erdogan that, you know, he's going to bring back the greatness of the Ottoman Empire, and he's going to create buffer space, you know, between the Kurds, or minimize the Kurds, and create a buffer state in northern Syria. And so we're seeing kind of the Victoria Nuland side, you know, who pushed for the removal of Assad versus the Obama pro-Iranian side. And it's a mess. I mean, look at how weak Obama looked in September and October coming out to support Kamala Harris. I mean, like, no one even listens to that guy. Even people in the African-American community, they're tired of Obama. So I think we're seeing a larger thing play out. You know, it's always the stuff you don't see. It's not the stuff you see.
Yeah, well, you know, I think that, you know, we can pretty much agree that the House Assad has no love for Iran. And
who? Assad doesn't have love for Iran.
No,
No.
the Saudi Arabians.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're definitely at ends. Definitely there.
It's the House of Saud. That's the Saudi Arabians.
I think personally, this is my opinion. I think Erdogan, first of all, Erdogan is a dictator. Okay. I encourage everyone to do research about him. But he's making a mistake. Okay. Now, who am I to say what's a mistake or not in his eyes, right? But let's not forget about the 2016 coup against Erdogan. So he does not have the full support of the Turkish people, but yet he's making this military invasion for the gas lines, and I don't know who he's trying to be in bed with, whether if it's Russia, Israel, Syria, Syrian rebels, I don't know. But I think he's making a strategic mistake because he does not have the support of his people 100%. That's my humble opinion.
But we're all forgetting, like Turkey, regardless of what you think, they are locked in, legally locked in to the United States, NATO. Okay, regardless of what you think of NATO, it's irrelevant. Okay, if somebody goes to war, as everybody knows, if somebody goes to war with one country, we're all at war. The United States at war. If somebody attacks Turkey, we're all at war. That's a fact. It's completely irrelevant of what we all think. Like Turkey, yeah, bad. Okay, Israel, well, regardless, half will probably in this group will say bad, half will say yes. You know, there's a lot of things at play here at the moment, and that's, I suppose, and everyone wanted America first, Trump first. Let's stay out of this shit. Let's stay out of all this shit. Let's be America first. But I suppose when it's in America's interest, we have to get involved. Do we have to get involved with Lebanon and Israel? No, we don't. No, it's doing us more harm than good. It's such a it's a chain wheel of shit that we have to pull back from. We have to pull back from.
The problem that you have with Lebanon is that, you know, the Iranians through Assad made Lebanon a Syrian client or a puppet, and you know, Lebanon was basically the pearl of the Middle East in terms of it being the financial capital, and you know, Lebanon represented everything that the Emirates does now, and it was a gorgeous country on the Mediterranean with all the financial institutions and you know, great city of Beirut right on the coast. All the money in the Middle East flowed through Beirut. And then in 1983, you had the attack on the U.S. Marines in Beirut, and then everything went to hell in a handbasket from there. But you know, the Lebanese people are not a bunch of radical Muslims. Most of the Lebanese are either moderate people or Christians. There's tons of Christians in Lebanon, and they, you know, they don't want to have anything to do with any of this garbage. They just want to be independent and left alone. You know, they're perfect.
That's why they have a shit show.
They're perfectly happy to be trading partners with Israel or anybody else. You know, the Lebanese are you know, good people, but they've been caught in this bullshit mostly because of Iran. And you know, I don't know why Iran thinks that they're some kind of a strategic, you know, country, unless, you know, it's because they're on the Mediterranean or whatever. But yeah,
Well,
if we don't figure out a way to get the Ayatollahs out of Iran, nothing in the Middle East is ever going to be a good situation.
But Iran is not our enemy. Iran.
Like, they were bombing
this nonsense
Israel?
that Iran. I'm not saying that you said that at all. Oh, bullshit. Iran is not our enemy. Iran is like any logical person.
Iran is the #1 state-funded sponsor of terrorism.
So Iran is
going to
attack.
Actually,
is Iran going to attack
the
America?
reason why?
Is Iran going to attack
Yes,
America?
So the reason why?
No, they're not.
Hold up. I'm going to answer him directly. Oh, hold up. Can I speak?
Speak.
Iran, who was just talking, Iran killed Americans in Iraq with EFPs. If you don't know what an EFP is, go do some research and don't tell me that Iran's not our enemy.
Iran
Maybe
is
the
the
Iranians.
#1. Can I please?
I will stand by my point. Iran is not our enemy, and Iran is not going to attack the United States. Any word of Iran attacking the United States is delusional. You really think Iran is going to attack?
They weren't
no,
putting
they're
hits
not.
out
They're
for
not
Trump.
going to attack the United States.
It won't be Iran itself. It'll be one of the proxies they run.
Correct.
Right. So you're wondering why Iran feels that it has a spot in Beirut. Well, it's because after 1985 in the civil war in Lebanon, they allowed Hezbollah to have seats within their government. Right. Hezbollah walked in and they were like, listen, we will rebuild your schools, we'll rebuild your country. You have no infrastructure. All we want is a seat in your parliament. And that slowly erupted into Hezbollah running the country of Lebanon, which is a proxy of Iran. Iran sponsors all of these terrorist groups all over the country. So I don't know who this terrorist is telling me that I'm an idiot for thinking Iran is my enemy. I think you're the idiot that you don't think I can identify my enemy and do something about it. So sit down and shut the fuck up.
I never said that. That's not what I said. Don't put words in my mouth. I never said that once.
That's exactly what you said. I don't need to put words in your mouth. The entire room heard you.
What I said was, don't put words in my mouth. What I said was, Iran is not going to attack the United States. It would be suicidal for them to do that.
No,
they are not going to attack the United States. The proxies are where in the Middle East, which has nothing got to do with the United States. They're not going to attack the United States.
Can you explain 9/11?
Yeah, Al-Qaeda, Saudi Arabia
you
are our
said
biggest
they're
ally.
in the Middle East, so they're not a threat to us. Then how did we get attacked on 9/11 if the people in the Middle East aren't a threat to us?
Who attacked on 9/11? Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia attacked the United States.
Where's Saudi Arabia?
Our biggest ally.
Is that in the Middle East? Okay, that's what you just said.
Iran.
So you're saying that we shouldn't worry about them because they're in the Middle East. And then we got attacked.
Saudi Arabia is our biggest ally. That's who we supply F-16 fighter jets to. That's nonsense. That's nonsense.
Yeah, but they're in the Middle East.
Saudi Arabia is our biggest ally. Yeah, and who do we supply weapons to? Saudi Arabia. F-16 fighter jets. Who has F-16 fighter jets? Saudi Arabia. Who was all the 9/11 attackers?
Okay, but that doesn't explain how you're trying to sit up here with the absurd fact that Iran is not a state-funded sponsor of terror and is one of the countries that is an enemy of the United States.
Saudi Arabia attacked.
Okay, I didn't ask about Saudi Arabia. I asked about Iran. Why don't you answer the question?
Why did Trump?
Iran didn't
Trump
attack
kill
America.
Soleimani? If they're our friends, why did Trump kill the IRGC leader?
Why is there a hit out on Trump's head by Iran? Why is there a hit out on Pete Hegseth's head by Iran?
You know, Jen, that's a great point. I was going to ask you about that assassination plot against Trump by Iran. With that being said, I do want to introduce one more person to this conversation because I like his background, and he's had his hand patiently raised for a while now. Recon, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much for your time. To the gentleman that was speaking, can you please mute his mic about Iran is not a state sponsor of terror and they're not after the United States? Can you please mute his mic? before I talk because I'm getting ready to piss him off bad. Yes, Saudi Arabia has F-16s. They've got F-15s. So does Jordan. So does Egypt. So does Turkey. That Iran is surrounded. So when you say, oh, they're not going to do anything to the United States, no freaking shit. We got 2 aircraft carrier groups in that area with enough submarines that could make Iran glass. They don't have a navy. They don't have a navy. They don't have an air force. And the same thing goes for Russia being in Lebanon. They have 2 little small naval bases that could be destroyed in 2 seconds tomorrow. And if I don't know if everybody remembers in this room that there was a Democratic leader elected in Lebanon about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Colonel, maybe you can back me up on this. And he was assassinated by Hezbollah. He was assassinated. Lebanon was on their way to being a free country where we didn't have to worry about them. All the Christians were safe. And I'm going to give a prediction that I think that everything that's happening in Iran right now, there are so many good people in Iran, just like Syria, just like Lebanon, just like Turkey, just like Saudi Arabia. There are so many good people that love America. And their coup happened the year, I know this sounds funny, but their coup happened and cameras were on it every day. NBC, ABC, NBC, all of them, Fox, were covering the coup in Iran. The people were standing up against the Ayatollah. Then what happened was Michael Jackson died. And then when Michael Jackson died, then all that news coverage went to that, and it went off the Iranian people, and then they were slaughtered. So if I think with what's happening in Syria, the coup in Syria, I think the coup is going to happen in Iran as well, and I think we should stay out of it. But what really pisses me off is that the 75 guided bombs that were dropped on the western side of Syria yesterday or the day before yesterday, I think that was Joe Biden trying to mess with Trump, going, okay, now we have to get into it because we just flew 75 sorties with B-2 bombers and guided missiles that blew the shit out of, 75 guided missiles. I can tell you, I've had to call for ordnance before, meaning I've had to call for air support to drop a bomb where I needed them because my enemy was that close to me and there was too many of them. And every time the pilot would say, danger close, meaning if you want me to drop this bomb, it's going to be real close to you guys, and you guys better get the hell out of the way. And I was like, drop them, because if you don't kill these damn freaking people, then we're going to be dead. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that about 25% of the bombs that were dropped in Syria 2 days ago came from our Air Force base in Turkey. Do you think Erdogan would have let that happen if he wasn't like leaning towards us and our side? Because the fact is, I'm a special ops veteran. Everybody in the world knows that nobody can beat the United States. Nobody. And Israel they're a force to be reckoned with. And Hezbollah and Hamas found that out the hard way. So Israel can take care of themselves. But what I will tell you, and I don't want to give any secrets away because I know stuff, is that in northern Syria, northeast Syria, there's no there's Kurds there, but there's no infidels there, because we have the baddest ass special ops team in the world in northeast Syria, because they're right near Iran, and they're not the ones getting bombed. It's all these little bases here and there and what have you. But I'm going to tell you right now, we have a force in Syria that could take down Syria right now. And they're a special forces team, a special ops team, excuse me, Colonel. It's a special ops team, and it's the tip of the spear. And they're from Fort Benning, Georgia, and they are in Syria right now. So if anybody, that's why Trump he's not playing his hand. He's like saying, "Oh, we don't need to go into Syria. That let them figure it out." Bullshit. He's not playing his hand. He's not letting anybody in any country know what his next move is. Saudi Arabia is on our side, like I said, Jordan, Egypt, Lebanon really truly is on our side. They just can't say it, but for fear of persecution. But Iran is on an island. They are on an island, and there's nothing they can do about it. The Russians have lost 600,000 troops during this Ukrainian war, and I will ask everybody the question: what happened to Crimea when Obama was in? What happened? Not one shot was fired. Russia went in and took Crimea, period. Not one shot was fired because
Obama's a pussy.
Yes, ma'am. And he has no red line. And the ISIS is a JV, correct? ISIS is JV. I mean, we don't need to worry about ISIS. The hell we don't need to worry about ISIS. I mean, there are a bunch of motherfuckers over there, excuse my French, fighting in damn sandals and whatnot like that. If you don't think that I'm going to land on Black Hawk here, but we have special ops, special forces all over that region, everywhere. Colonel, I would like to refer to you to see, could you back me up? Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I left? What's going on? Thank you for my time. Landing my Black Hawk.
Thank you, Recon. Much appreciated. Looks like we got 3 hands.
Wait, Commander, do you want to answer him?
No, I didn't have an issue with anything he said, but I will state that CENTCOM forces in the eastern part of Syria have stayed out of the conflict in the north and western part of Syria. They're not there to referee what's happening in the western part of Syria. That's been Erdogan pushing south, supporting the HTS and other groups. We have to keep our bases in eastern Syria because we also need Al-Assad air base in Iraq. And we now know, of course, that Iran has a lot of influence in Iraq. It's not the same Iraq from 2005, 2010. So there's a lot of shifting players here. There's one thing I will say: Assad was a bad guy, but that was a legacy from the Cold War that Chris mentioned. So there's a lot of shifting players, and that's why I said it's a shit show. And Iran is not a good country. The people in Iran need new leadership. They need a new government, and the Ayatollahs and the mullahs need to be removed immediately. And Obama fucked Iran because he likes the mullahs. I don't care what anyone says. Obama loves the mullahs. And that's why they just released how many billions of dollars today. They said that money can be transferred from Iraq to Iran now. Why would the Biden administration release money to Iran? Can someone answer that one?
I'll answer that one. Come on, if you let me. Number one, this is the same type of rhetoric that happened after Libya fell and after Saddam fell. So people cheering on Assad falling like it's a good thing, like it's a great thing, or it's going to improve the national security of the United States. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing at all. If we all remember,
who said
after
that?
Obama,
Who said that?
I'm not saying you said that at all. I'm actually, I'm not saying that you said that at all. No, let me finish.
You're
I'm
right.
not saying you said
I
that
agree
at all.
with that so far. Go on.
Yeah. So, like, I think we all agree, and well, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think me and you, I think we agree that after Libya fell, it was a bad thing. After Saddam fell, Trump said it himself. It was a bad thing. It wasn't a good thing. So I would correlate Saddam falling and Gaddafi falling exactly the same as Assad falling. I don't think what it's going to lead to is instability in the Middle East. So who's going to come to power after Assad's gone? So who's going to come to power? Nobody knows. Israel doesn't know. The United States doesn't know. My only point is America first. The whole point of this America first and Trump being in power was let's not get involved. Let's let them do what they want to do. So if it's a threat to our national interests, somebody that lives in America, someone that's, I live in New York, one of the first places that will be hit. It's not a good thing. So for people to be jumping up and down, in a good way, saying Assad is an evil man. Yeah, they're all evil men. Please name me a dictator in the Middle East that's not a good person or a bad person. Okay, that's the Middle East. It's a different type of politics than we have in the United States, we have in Canada, and we have in the Western Europe. It's not a good thing. So yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I don't want to have an argument with you. I agree with you. I'm just thinking it's a bad thing, and I think people should think twice before they should jump up and down and celebrate Assad being gone. I don't think it's a good thing for the United States. I don't think it's a good thing for our security and our children's security. That's all. That's my only
we
point.
agree with you on that one. I think that and then Bumble, I see your hand down there. But I think that you're right. It's the destabilization, and I think, Commander, what you said about it's creating a just another mess that Trump's got to come in there and deal with again in his first 100 days. I think that they're trying to create as many dumpster fires as possible so that man is, tied up and can't move us forward like we need to move immediately.
Kim, our commander, I do have a video queued up for that General Wesley Clark did in 2007, I believe, when he was running for president under the Democrat ticket in 2008. I could play that, but I see that the stage is full. So if we have a chance, bring up Cyber Patriot whenever we have someone drop.
I'll drop. I'll see you later, guys.
Thank
Hi,
you, Jen.
Jen.
Take care.
Go ahead, Bumble, and then we'll get to that.
See you, Jen. Thank you for coming.
So, here's the deal. You have a bunch of evil dictators exercising a certain amount of control within their borders. That allows the U.S. to stay out. Now, if you topple one or more of those dictators, now to produce your desired outcome, you need to get involved. But if you leave these manipulatable dictators in place, you can push them around and nudge them this way and that. And that way, you maintain supreme control on the board. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Bumble. Looks like we have a couple more hands. Adam, are you ready with that audio, or should we just go to these hands while you get that ready?
Let's. I think the audio is ready. Let me test it real quick.
Well,
Make sure it's playing.
while you're doing that, I want to take a moment to remind people that we are broadcasting on Kick and on Rumble and on Pilled and on YouTube and on X Live. And I want to thank the people who are tuned in there, and hope that you're enjoying this conversation and finding it stimulating. I want to invite you to come to the American Mission website to sign up for a newsletter. We don't sell your information. You're only going to get one newsletter a day, if that. And invite you to come to our American Mission stores, where you will find apparel and merchandise that will help support American Mission, to help us continue to bring you spaces like this and to put out the information that you desire to receive, because this, even though we have an all volunteer force, this is not free. And we, together with our affiliates, work awfully hard to try to, bring you valuable information and stories like our series, Faces of Intrepidity, which spotlights great Americans and heroes, and Faces of Tyranny, which gives you insight on the evildoers of our times, and lots of other great stuff that you can use to help you in your day-to-day crusade against the bad things that are going on in politics in the United States and in your communities. And so we look forward to having you as part of American Mission. We look forward to having you share the information you get and to be involved both here in Spaces and with our X community. And we look forward to seeing you regularly.
By the way, I got my hoodie, my long sleeve jersey T-shirts, and I love them. Very excited about it.
Nice.
Can I just jump in before Adam plays the audio? I'm leaving. It's been up a long time.
Yeah, go for it. I was just testing audio there.
Here's what I want to say. Before I get started and circle back to the topic, Willie, I understand you have an Irish accent, but what's your ethnic background?
American. Born in America. I was born in New York. I moved to Ireland when I was like 6, so I have an Irish accent. Yeah.
So
American white.
So you American white.
Correct.
Irish.
Well, whatever way you want to take it. I was born in New York, moved to Ireland. I have an Irish accent. Yeah, whatever you want to take it.
You moved to Ireland, so I'm just trying to figure out where you're coming from. Like, what's your ethnic background?
White, Catholic, Irish American. I don't want to. What way you want to take it?
So you say
New York,
right? But you don't have that Irish accent, and you say you're from America but born in Ireland.
I meant to say it twice already. I was born in New York. My parents moved to fucking Ireland when I was like 6 or 7, and so American Irish. I don't know what you want me to say.
But now
Irish,
you live back in New York, right?
I'm back in New York. Yeah.
All right. I don't know. I'm just trying to understand where you get your information from, as far as saying that the Islamic regime, the IRGC, occupying Iran since 1979, that these people, the mullahs and ayatollahs, are good friends with the U.S.
When did I say that once? I don't remember saying
Okay,
that
so
once.
that-
What I said was
I think
America
what you
first.
needed- I think what you meant to say was that the Iranian people are good people and they don't want to mess with us, but we've got some bad people running that country that, I mean, they definitely, they cause a lot of problems.
So Alu,
Yeah.
So-
But my one point was that Iran is not going to attack the United States, and anyone that has that in their head is delusional. Iran has no, like, it would be suicidal for them to do that. So this bullshit propaganda that Iran is going to fucking attack the United, that's bullshit.
So let me ask you
Anyone
this.
that believes
Here's
that-
my question. I get it. You're very passionate. Do you consider the IRGC and the Islamic regime of Iran, the Ayatollahs and Mullahs, terrorists?
Possibly.
You know what? That's my red line with you. This is what I'm trying to get to with you. You zigzagging all the way through. You're going around circles, and what you're saying holds no water. I've been listening to you. You're all over the place. You say you're from America. You're from Ireland. You have a New York accent, Irish accent.
I explained exactly to you. It's not my fault that you can't comprehend what I said.
First of all, I comprehend.
exactly
Hold on. I comprehend everything you say. You're all over the map. You're raising your voice. You're going up and down, side to side. You're not making any sense. I asked you a simple question, and I've been researching your profile the way you've been talking this whole time. Do you support Israel's independence?
No.
Exactly. And you support the terrorist Islamic regime, the terrorist IRGC.
No.
I just asked you 20 seconds ago, and I repeat myself again. Maybe I'm getting old over here, right? I ask you again.
Maybe, yeah.
Right, exactly. Maybe. Don't become a wise guy with me. I ask you again, asshole. Do you consider IRGC, the Islamic regime, the mullahs, the ayatollahs, a terrorist organization?
Possibly, yeah.
It says yes. Where have you been for the past 45 years since 1979? Is your head up your fucking ass?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, great. Did you get that off your chest? You feel good?
So
No,
wait,
I
wait.
just
I thought you said,
think.
I
Kim,
thought you
hold
said
on,
that
please.
you don't support,
Kim.
you said you don't support Israel's independence? What?
Kim, give me 1 second.
I support Israel as a state. I hope it flourishes. I hope it
Kim,
flourishes as a
this
state.
guy's full of
Yes.
shit. This guy's full of shit. Kim, why don't you go to his profile and research the posts and all the bullshit he's writing? First of all, you have no skin in the game in the Middle East. You say you're Irish ethnically. You say you're
How
not.
do you know that? How do you know that? How do
You
know
just
that?
say
You
you
don't know shit.
okay. I'm going to tell you why you have no skin in the Middle East. You said that you are ethnically Irish, correct?
Yeah, correct. Like fucking what? 50 million Americans.
No.
Yeah,
Hold
okay,
on,
yeah,
no.
Americans are-
Stop zigzagging. I don't know who you fooling, right? How do you have skin in the game in the Middle East if you are Irish ethnically, like you said 5 times?
No, number one, you don't know where my parents are
That's
from.
what
You
I
don't know
asked
who's
you.
from.
That's what I was getting to. I hear it in your
That's
accent.
none of your fucking business.
Listen,
You're-
hold on. Calm down, tough
you're
guy. Hey,
zigzag-
listen.
now you're
calm down.
zigzagging around the
First
place.
of all, your accent is not American. Your accent is not Irish. You are, I think, either Pakistani or ethnic Arab.
Pakistani.
Hold on, listen to me. You have no skin in the game.
All right. I'm going to step in here. I appreciate Dallas, what you're getting at. I agree. He kind of zigzagging over the place. I think it's really easy for probably 95, 98% of the people in this space to all agree that the mullahs, the ayatollahs since 1979 are enemies and yes, they're not going to attack the continental United States. You're right. That would be foolish. That would be stupid. They're not going to do that. But
Commander, I'm
going to mute everyone again. They have attacked and killed American servicemen in recent history. And that is why the Trump administration, when he was the president the first time, attacked Iranian interests because they are our sworn enemy. Not the Iranian people, but the government of Iran. And Obama had an opportunity to liberate the Persian people, and he did not. So that should be the first question. Why did he not? Why did he not back the revolution in Iran?
Because his middle name is Hassan.
Commander, can I just land on this, brother? Can I just land on this?
Yeah.
This guy is full of shit, number one. Number two, take a look at his profile and his timeline. Number three, first he says he's born in America, he's American. Then he says he's Irish, he's born in Ireland, moved back to America. And as soon as I said he has no skin in the game in the Middle East, he said, how do you not know where my parents are born? And I land right there.
All right. The Dallas, I brought Bumble up and put him down, so we're in good shape. Anyway.
All right,
And this is the same guy who was yelling at Jen. I was going to jump in when he was yelling at Jen, but I didn't say anything.
You are awesome, Dallas. I love you. Okay, you've been in the spaces for a long time. I support your brother, so I got your back. But I will say that a few of the things he said I actually agreed with. Okay, not everything. I think he was full of shit talking about the mullahs. Maybe they're bad. Well, if you can't say that, then you have a moral compass that's broken. So if anything, I think he's Irish. It sounds like an Irish accent to me. But your moral compass is broken. No one in here said anything about Iran was going to attack the continental United States and invade us or attack us. But they've been attacking our interests around the world since 1979. So I think that the historical record is clear. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Okay, let's move on.
That's a historical fact because we've got serial numbers on